Hi, welcome back to Iramu Community Centre, Cooking Around the World. We're doing a very sneaky little desserty thing. This is simple and it's over the top. The flavour of this is really nice and it's a fun one to do. This is actually a recipe called Key Lime Parfaits. Now, in the past down at the cooking group, we've done key lime pie, which is sort of like a cheesecakey style of thing set within a crust. And with that one, you actually set the crust, which is a biscuit base with melted butter, and you set the base. This one, you had the option of doing the set base, biscuit crumbs and melted butter. But for this little parfait version, I prefer not to set it in with the butter. You can do it if you want, but as I put in the recipe, it's optional. So we're not going to add the butter to it. We're just going to make it as a nice little crumbly base. And while you eat these little parfaits, here, you can actually just spoon down to get the crumbs. I prefer that little, like a crumbly base to it, nice crummy, dry base. And I find it's not quite as rich because this is pretty rich. As you know, if you ever made a key lime pie before, condensed milk and cream cheese, that's pretty rich. You just do small, I prefer to do little small cups of these for my friends, and that's all you need. So let's start this. You can use, as per the recipe, a base of nice biscuits, which we'll do today. I also really love using ginger nut biscuits crumbed down for any of these because ginger nut biscuits are fantastic. But for this one, we'll do the nice biscuits. And we start off with half a packet of nice biscuits. Come over here, Jack. We got a little mending machine. We'll pick about half a pack of that. Loosely crumble them in. Morning tea, Jackie. Mm-hmm. Afternoon tea. Now, I've dry roasted or toasted half a cup of, that's your shredded coconut. Toasting your shredded coconut first, or your desiccated coconut, adds a fantastic toasty flavour into any dish. I just like getting these things, sprinkling them over a dessert. It's fantastic. So chuck all that in. I did that about half an hour ago and let them actually dry off and harden. Otherwise they'd still be a little bit soggy after the toasting. Now, let's get on with this. We're just going to turn these into rough crumbs. Don't need to take it down too fine. You want a little bit of texture when you're doing this. So you've got crumbly chunks in there. Have a look at that. See the texture of this? Still some chunks in there. It was exactly what I want. And that toasted coconut has blended through the whole thing. Now we'll just leave that aside for the moment. Now, we're going to make our filling for the key lime parfaits, and what we do is we start with, I've got the lid for that. This is just a light cream cheese, and this is actually the Woolworths brand. We've done it again, Jack. Woolworths brand light cream cheese. You can use the Philadelphia, whatever, but make sure you use the light one because it makes it a bit healthier. This dessert is not healthy in the slightest. Now, I've left this out for a couple of hours to bring it down to room temperature from the fridge. You want it a little bit pliable or malleable while you're working with this. Otherwise, it's too hard to mix this all together. So we have a 250 gram tub of the light cream cheese. And who doesn't like condensed milk? This is absolutely sensational. This is what makes a key lime pie, and a proper key lime pie is made up of exactly this. The condensed milk, cream cheese, we just pour this in. Now the original recipe for this, you added some icing sugar, a heaped tablespoon or something like that, and I thought it doesn't need any more sweetening. Believe me, this does not need any more sweetening. I'm not drain too much out of this can because I know someone will be fighting over that in a little while.
Leave some for me.
Now, we also need zest of a lime. So we'll get our, I actually do use a microplane. If you have graters and you go through a grater a little hand grater these are, you go through a grater and they lose their sharpness and you have to buy a new one. And that all starts to rack up. The microplane brand, they're about $29.95, $30, but they're well worth it and they last years and they remain sharp. So we're just going to take the zest off this lime. I could have done all this for you beforehand, but you know, I just wanted to show you the action. Almost there. Get as much. Try not to go too deep into it because as you get into that white pith, it starts to get a little bit bitter. We just want the nice limey flavour off this. Good. Excellent. Now, get a knife. Let's just cut this in half. Because we're going to use the juice out of this lime also. Little juice, this makes it easy. Half. This, by the way, this is a very, very simple thing to do. It only takes minutes to get it going. Then just pop it all into you make up your little parfaits, pop them into the fridge for a minimum 4 hours. I prefer to leave them overnight because with the juice and we'll add a little bit of cream in it, it does make it quite soft. It's a fairly runny. If you're making key lime pie, which you add eggs to, and you bake it in the oven, and it will actually set for you. So it's more of a cheesecakey style thing. This one will be a little bit runnier, which you want, a little bit softer. And put it in the fridge, give it a minimum 4 hours to semi-set again, but it won't set like a cheesecake, all right? Now, the recipe also calls for 150 mils of cream. So this is 600, that's about 300 there, so I'll just add the top quarter of that. That should just about do it. Now I'll just stir all this in very gently. And that's all, oh, the lime's fantastic. That's really all this is. So just give it a stir to get, just breaking down that cream cheese. And I'll finish it off with a fork in a moment. So we're just getting it moving. You all right there? Mm. Camera operator issues.
Mm. Sore arms.
Sore arm, okay. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just go to start whisking it with a fork. What do you do with? Don't do this with a balloon whisk, the wiry whisk thing. I tried once before, so I'll just do it with a fork, and we'll come back in a few minutes' time. Okay, here we are. Back again. I've just given that a stir for about 4 or 5 minutes and left it for a few minutes. It's already starting to set again. You see it starting to peak up again. So that the cream cheese, even though it's just a light cream cheese, that's actually starting to set. But it's just a few moments of giving it a good stir with a fork. I tried this once before, the whisk, like a proper balloon whisk. Just one of these. We ended up, most of the lemon zest clung onto little tendrils of the whisk, and it took so long to try and remove it. I thought I'd never do it again. Just as easy to give it a whip up with a fork, and it's taken all the lumps out of it. So that's fine, just as that is there, and it's actually really yummy. Now what I'm going to do, I'd normally do these in those little disposable clear plastic cups, because that size is about as much as a human should be given, because they're pretty rich, they're bloody beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I don't have any of those at the moment, so I'm going to do these in a selection of different vessels here. And what you want to do is just put in a spoonful of our base, a biscuit base. That's probably as much as you need. Sorry, you're right there,
Going
Jack?
up and down.
Now, we'll just do a couple of these, just a few different ones. There we go, something like that. And I have quite some rather large chunks of this biscuit base in here. There are big lumps in there, and that's the best way to have it. See, it's just textural, just gives it a bit more of a crumbly biscuit texture. That's heaps. There will be some mixture left over, so I'll get some disposable cups, and we'll make them up and we'll give them to our neighbours, because Jackie and I aren't going to be able to eat, are we? We can't do all these. We'd
Not that many.
in one go.
No.
Get that out of the way. Oh, goodness me. Okay. Yeah, this is starting to set quite nicely at the moment. So about 3 or 4 hours in the fridge should get this done. But as I said, I do like to leave it overnight. I just realised this is a bit tricky to eat in this little glass of this without making too much of a mess.
Do it with a smaller fork spoon.
I'll get back to that in a minute. It's only that one. Yeah, that's probably 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of going with it. And as I said, for a normal human being, that's heaps. There we go. 2 in that. That's probably exactly what you want. Any more than that is just way too much. That's two rather heaped tablespoons in there. That's all we'll do for the moment. I'll save some more so we can put them into smaller receptacles for our lovely neighbours. Now, I'm going to pop these in the fridge, give them a couple of hours, then we'll come back and dress them and finish them off for you. Garnish them and finish them off for you. We'll see you soon. Right, here we are. We've got these out of the fridge now. These are all set. They've been in for about 5 or 6 hours. As you can see, they're setting. So they're not quite cheesecake consistency, but they're not runny. So just to finish these off, by the way, what I normally would put these in, if you've got a group of people come around, just these little disposable plastic cups, and you take them up about halfway, and that's a good size serving, especially if you've got a lot of people coming around. We don't have all that much left of our mixture. Some of it's been claimed already. The few hours we had in between when we put them in the fridge and now, yeah, they're very popular. Okay, so this is how I finish these off. This is the rest of our toasted coconut. Just put a little sprinkle of our toasted coconut on top. There's still some of the biscuit crumb. You can even sprinkle some of that on top if you want, but really no need because there's quite a bit of biscuit crumb under there. So we put a little bit of our coconut in both of them. Put a raspberry or 2. But we have to have
3.
We have to have 3. Why is that, Jack?
Because it's craft.
Craft.
Craft lady told me that.
Oh, so it's not superstition?
No, no.
Oh, God, you scared
You
the hell
can't
out of
have
me.
2 or 4. You can only have 3 or 5.
Scared. You scared the hell out. I thought it was some sort of superstition thing. There's 3 of them. Look at this. You don't have, there's just whatever you want. Don't even need this. This is just a bit of decoration on the top.
Are they my breakfast blueberries?
Oh, we'll take them back off when we're finished.
Well, I'll have one of them for breakfast.
Oh, goodness me. Straight to the arteries. And what is a nice thing, because this is a fairly rich dessert, fairly sweet. So a good idea is just to serve it with a little wedge of lemon.
Lime.
Yeah, that one too. Lemony lime. And just a little squeeze of that lime juice onto it really helps cut through a bit of the sweetness and richness. But look, that's just purely decoration. They are just absolutely delicious. Our neighbours are wrapped. They got a bunch of them a little while ago, and the kids were just thrilled. So there we go. Look at them. Oh, hang on. You should see that one. Look at that one. This is for the lesser members of the family, the ones we don't love so much. Well, we've got a lot down the side of that. But these ones, they're actually very big serves. So there we go. Key Lime Parfaits. It takes about 15 minutes to get them in the fridge, a couple of hours to set. Just by the way, with this particular one, in the recipe where it says 150 mils of cream, I calculated when I had a look back at the bottle, I'd used about 100 mils of the cream with the low-fat cheese and the condensed milk, and it sort of set a little bit faster, set a little bit thicker too. So there's a point. I'll add that to the recipe. 100 mils of cream, not 150 mils of cream, and it just sets a little bit better. So there we go. Get into them for your dessert, and we will be. Cheers. See you next time.